Hello guys, in this lesson we are going to consider how to perform unit conversions in metric system. Welcome back. The metric system is a system of measurement that uses the meter, liter, and gram as base unit of length, capacity of volume, and mass respectively. When you add a prefix, let's say nano, micro, or milli, or even kilo to the base, which is a unit, the meaning changes. For instance, if you add kilo to the base, it becomes 1,000 of the unit. Several methods can be used to convert from one unit to another. One of the methods is the place movement method. In this method, you express as a power of 10 the number of movement from one prefix to another. And then you check the prefix to see if you're converting from small to large or from large to small. If you're converting from small to large, then you need to divide by the power of 10 that you expressed earlier. And then from large to small, you need to multiply by the power of 10 that you expressed earlier. To demonstrate this, let's convert 63 centimeter to kilometer. Now the centi and the kilo here are different prefix. The centi is 10 to the power of negative 2 and the kilo is 10 to the power of 3. Okay, so moving from negative 2 to 3 will be 5 steps. Okay, so we express our power of 10 as 10 to the power of 5. So I check to see if I'm converting from small to large. From centi to kilo, I'm converting from small unit to large unit, so I need to divide. So I divide 63 by the power of 10 that I expressed earlier, and that will give me 0.0063 kilometer. Okay, now let's try out other problems too. The answer to the earlier problem should be 0.00063 kilometer. Now let's take out another problem. We have 4.01 meter square to be converted to millimeter square. Millimeter square. Okay, so we're changing from the base, which is 10 to the power of 0, to a prefix to meter. Okay, which is to milli, which is 10 to the power of negative 3. Okay, so the order of step we're moving is 3 steps. Okay, but then we have a square of it. So we'll have to square this, which is 6 steps, 10 to the power of 6. Okay, so since I'm converting from a larger unit, meter square, to a much more smaller unit, I multiply. So I have 4.01 times 10 to the power of 6, which gives me 401,000 millimeter square. Okay, now let's try out another problem. we have 25 kilogram per meter cube. Two gram per centimeter cube. All right. So in this case, we move from a prefix kilo to a base. 3 steps. So I multiply 25 times 1000. For the base, for the just for this unit, which is the denominator, meter cube to centimeter cube. I'm moving from the base to centi, which is 2 steps. But since it's cube, it becomes 10 to the power of 2 times 3, which is 10 to the power of 6. Okay, 10 to the power of 6. So I use I divide by 10 to the power of 6. Okay, that will give me 25 divided by 10 to the power of 3, and I have 0.025 gram per centimeter cube. Good. Next is the conversion factor method. In the conversion factor method, we need to generate and use the conversion factor, and then convert to the base first before converting to the other unit. We have a equation here which will help us to understand what we're saying better. To convert 0.075 microgram to milligram, first I have to generate the conversion factor. 1 microgram is the same thing as 10 to the power of negative 6 gram. Okay, remember the micro is negative 6. So that's how you do it. 1 microgram is the same thing as, replace the micro with the value of its prefix. Okay, so in this case now 0.075 microgram will be 0.075 times 10 to the power of negative 6. Okay, and that will give us 7.5 times 10 to the power of negative 8. Okay, gram. Now next I convert to milligram. So 1 milligram is something as 10 to the power of negative 3 gram. Okay, I'm changing the milli, which is just 10 to the power of negative, that which is the conversion factor. Okay, now that means that 7.5 times 10 to the power of negative 8 gram would be 7.5 times 10 to the power of negative 8 divided by 10 to the power of negative 3, which gives 7.5 times 10 to the power of negative 5 milligram. Okay, let's try out the next one in the next slide. Next, we need to convert 60 meter per second to kilometer per hour. Let's generate the conversion factor. 1 kilometer is the same thing as 1000 meter. Okay, because I'm replacing the kilo with 1000 here. At the same time, 1 hour is the same thing as 3600 seconds. Okay, so this implies that 1 kilometer per hour would be 1000 divided by 3600, which will give us about 0.278 meter per second. Okay, so that's the conversion factor. Right, so 1 kilometer per hour, or rather, I should say 0.278 meter per second equals to 1 kilometer per hour. Okay, so 60 meter per second will be what? Will be 60 divided by 0.278, which is 215.83 thereabout. So we can say it's roughly 216 kilometer per hour. Okay. The third method is the exponent subtraction method. In this method, we need to subtract the exponent or the power of the prefix, and then move the decimal point right or left in the order of the result. If our result is a negative value, then we'll move the decimal point left or backward. If it's a positive value, then we need to move the decimal point forward. Let's try this out to understand the problem better. We have 40 centimeters square, and we needed to convert it to millimeter square. Okay, the prefix here is 10 to the power of negative 2. While the prefix here is 10 to the power of negative 3. Okay, so since we have centimeters square of it, we have to square the prefix too. We have to square of this, we have to square the prefix. So we have 10 to the power of negative 4. And here we have 10 to the power of negative 6. So we subtract the exponents, okay? So negative 4 and negative 6, subtract the exponents. Subtract the exponent. So negative 4 minus negative 6. That will give me positive 2. Okay? So since I have 40, and the rule says if it's a positive value, I move the decimal 2 times forward. So moving the decimal 2 times forward, I'm going to have 4,000 millimeters square. Millimeter square. Okay? Let's move the decimal point from here, from 40 forward. 1, 2 step. Hope you understand. From this point, I move the decimal point from this 40 forward to step 1, 2. So that gives me 4,000. Right? Okay, the next is convert 10.2 millimeter cube to meter cube. Okay, the milli here is 10 to the power of negative 3, and the meter here, which is a base, is 10 to the power of 0. Now each of them is in cube, so I have to multiply by 3. So when I multiply this one by 3, it's going to give me 10 to the power of negative 9, and this is still going to give me 0. So I have negative 9 and 0. negative 9 and 0. So in this case, negative 9 minus 0, because I'm subtracting the exponent, which will still give me negative 9. Okay, so I need to move the decimal here backward by 9 steps. That will give me 0.000000102 meter cube. Okay, so you can even express it in exponent form. That is 1.02. You can express it as 1.02 times 10 to the power of -8, right? Sorry, 10 to the power of -8, if you want, meter cube. Okay, guys, that's it with this lesson. For a future lesson like this, you need to subscribe to this channel.